Hello everyone, welcome to a new process video. I actually just finished another one, so I'm recording these back to back because I had so much fun doing the last one. I thought, well, I'm going to jump right into a second one. So I'm still working on photos from Austria. This is Salzburg. The previous one was the Salzburg Cathedral. This one actually is focused on a cemetery that's also in Salzburg. It doesn't belong to the cathedral though. It belongs to a different church in the area. But it's a very, very famous cemetery. If you can see this photo here, notice these archways and the gates that are in front of them. This is what actually inspired one of the scenes in The Sound of Music, where the Von Trapp family are hiding in the Abbey, is actually based on this. This is not the Abbey, but this is where they got the idea. And so even though the film shows it a little bit differently, it actually is in Salzburg. It's just at a different location. So I want to talk about that in my journaling, and then also check out this photo. This was a stone that I found in the cemetery, and this completely made me think of the Deathly Hallows from Harry Potter, because it's the skull down there is kind of the circle, and it's got the line in the middle for the wand, and then the triangle on the outside for the stone. And I don't know, I thought it was interesting. It caught my eye, and so I wanted to talk about that as well. You never know what you'll find in these old European cemeteries. So the only thing I'm missing right now is a card for this pocket. When I went through quickly to pick out this one, I just didn't find anything that really jumped out at me for over here. So I do need to work on finding that, but at least the rest of this is pretty set. Since this card has kind of a pink or peachy tone to it, as do the flowers and some of the stones, I want to either stick with that, or because there's black here and black goes with everything, I want to stick with black or even maybe a gray. So it's peach/pink, gray or black. I know I have gray and black things. Trying to find something else that would match this color might be a little tricky, but we'll see what happens as I go. I found this card in my stash, and I love what it says, but it's too blank for me. So I think what I'm going to do is I may cut this down to just the phrase and then try to find pattern paper, very subtle pattern maybe, or a solid that's close to this color, and then mount it on there so that they look as if they go together, because otherwise I'm not sure what else to do with that. I suppose I could add some washi, but I just don't like it when it's so plain. When I went digging in my stash, I found something that I think may work. This side is an old piece of paper from a club scrap kit, I believe. And this is just what I happen to have left over. Well, I obviously wouldn't use this side, but this color might be okay. It's pretty darn close to what I'm seeing here. And I'm thinking I can cut this off, mount it on a 3x4 piece of the colored background, and then maybe do some misting or, you know, background stamping of some type just to make it a little bit more exciting. I cut down that card to just use the phrase, and I do like it on the background. And when I was looking at the paper, there actually is a subtle pattern in there. They're just little flecks, like as if it's a natural type of paper. So there is that, but you don't see it very well. So I do think I still need to add something. I'm wondering if I should add a thin washi, both on this card and on here, just to make them look like they go more together. So I'm gonna go through and probably look for a gray, I think. I might be able to get away with a green because there's green in here too, but it would have to be pretty subtle. So I'm gonna look to see what I have. When I was looking through my washi, I discovered that for gray, this is really the only thin one that I have. I have some, you know, that are about twice this width. Those would be the thinnest. So really it's this, and there's no pattern to it. It's just a plain gray, but it's an option. So I have that. And then I pulled out multiple greens here, and these are all very, very thin. This one has more glitter and is a little blingy. These are both metallic. They have foil on them, those two. This one's a little bit more matte, but it has a pattern. So I think I'm just going to play around with them and see what I like. The great thing about washi is it's removable. So if I don't like it, I can just, you know, take it off and try something else. So I will give all of these a whirl and see what I like best. I decided that I liked several of those washi tapes, so I decided to use them. So I have 2 strips of the metallic with the stripe, and then I have the diagonal stripe, which is more matte, plus I have just the gray. So I've layered them in multiple ways here. So that one's done, at least in terms of the washi. But now here I have to figure out, do I want to layer as well or just use one of those colors? I'm not sure yet, so I'll mess around with that one next. I decided to do some similar layering on this card, so now they at least look like they match a little bit better. So I think that part is done. I do think I am going to do some subtle stamping on the background of this one because it still feels a little plain in the colored areas here. I did some stamping on both of these. I just took this stamp and I used black ink, but I stamped away a couple of times and then went back over this so that it wouldn't be super dark black on it. And I like the way that that came out. So now they both have what looks like splattering around the edges, and it just adds some nice visual interest, I think. So those are ready. And then I just have to figure out what to do with these photos. There's some dead space here, so I could either possibly stamp in white on here because this is a dark green background, or I could do labels or some type of embellishment up there. And then I have the same here, and it works out really well because they're in opposite corners. I'm going to stamp on this photo with my Brilliance Moonlight White ink, and I've picked out this stamp set. This is from Christine Heron. It's the Everyday Explorers company. If you haven't heard of them, you should really check them out, especially if you love travel. She makes awesome stuff. So this is a newer set I have, and I want to use this stamp right here that says "Still in Awe," because I was after I saw this, and I still am. So I'm going to stamp that, and it is a glossy photo. So if I smear it and it doesn't work out, I can always reprint. I've completed the stamping on this photo, and it came out very well, so I'm very pleased with that. And I think I'm going to do some more. I picked out this set, and I want the word that says unforgettable. And I actually decided to mix up my photos a little bit because I just felt like if I'm going to stamp on this one as well, I didn't like its placement before. So this will put these diagonal from each other, which I really like, and it kind of redistributes the color a little better. So I'm going to stamp next on this one in the same white ink and hope that it goes as well as this one. I've done the stamping on this one. It says unforgettable. Now this one doesn't show as well because the green in this photo isn't as dark as this one, but I still think you can see it enough because when I hold it like this, I can read the word without any trouble. So I am going to leave it, and I think this one is probably done because I don't want to add any more bulk to it. I have the washi to kind of give some visual interest, and I want the focus, as always, to be on the photos. So I think this one is done. Thanks for watching, everyone.